Hey everybody, Sledge, my man, good to see you. Randy, Ivan, Mary, Marianne, Diana, Gary, channel member Nikki, channel member Darren, channel member Gayton, channel member Rob, channel member Dawn. Good to see everybody. Light crowd so far, but I'm sure some more people will join us, some more of our friends. Welcome, AT. Don't recognize your name, but welcome to the stream. And make sure you're a click down at the bottom that you're a subscriber on the channel. That's the only requirement to chat. And welcome to the show. So we've got 30 minutes of awesome coming at you. We've got CPI, we've got PPI, we've got retail sales coming up the next 3 mornings before the market opens. All 3 of those hitting. And I mean, I've always got a lot going on. I've always got things going on. Welcome everybody. And today wasn't that continuation day we hoped for, Sledge. I would have loved to see another $100,000 day, but can't all be winners, I guess. And it's kind of the way it rolls. So we do have CPI coming tomorrow, PPI coming Thursday, and retail sales coming on Friday. Ought to be an interesting set of stuff coming up here. Interesting set of stuff indeed. So before we jump into any of that, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, and entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instruments. So no stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. And there we go. Don't trade them. I mean, substantial risk of loss. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire and consult a financial advisor. And Gayton, I do better on the live streams. I really do. I try. I feel like that's where my personality shines, and not too keen on the sales presentation. My passion is the Termite Trading Lab group. If y'all haven't been able to tell, and for those of you that aren't members of that, that's really where my real strong passion is, helping a small, tight-knit group of traders just absolute crush it in the market. And we did a sales presentation for that, and David A came on and talked to me live for, I don't know, what was it, 15, 20 minutes maybe? And we just chit-chatted about his experience. He was here live in June, and I know he married Lorraine after they went back home, and they've just kind of been enjoying life. And he had a huge day yesterday, broke $1 million in his account for the first time, and like 100, I don't know, he's somewhere between $110,000, $120,000 yesterday in a single day of gain. Pretty sweet. At least we didn't get a giant pullback today in crypto. Thank goodness. Just kind of stayed even. So anyway, welcome to the show, everybody, and put myself back on this side. So we do have CPI coming up tomorrow, right here. And maybe we come in just kind of in line. Maybe it comes in spicy. Maybe it comes in chill. Right now, we're kind of setting up the same scenario we had in the 60s, 70s, where we have like this, like they're going to have to raise rates to control the financial situation. Not exactly great, if you ask me, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Does this come back? We were seeing PCE come in a little spicy with food inflation when we printed that last week or whatever it was. Gosh, when was the PCE out? Everything's a blur these days. I think it was the last week of, I guess 2 weeks back, probably right here. We got that PCE, yeah, right there. 2 weeks back on October 31st, we got that PCE come in a little spicy on the normal, not the core, but the normal PCE. We got a little spicy, and this did rise from the 0.2 to 0.3. Food prices were the main culprit there, and I'm wondering if that's going to be reflected in the CPI. It's a little different balance. I've brought that up before, between PCE and CPI. And if that's something that interests you, the balance of those two, I can see if I can find it really quickly. May take me a moment here. Let me see if I can roll back through and find it. I've got so many. I've been bringing up so many images in the mornings. Let's see. And Sergio, if you're here, they finally came back and fixed my driveway. Finally put that all back together. I just saw the picture when I was rolling through of, nobody knows, nobody wants to admit how it happened, but they did come back and fix it. So, finally. Let's see, rolling on back. Where is that CPI versus PCE? Is that balance? Golly. I talk about a lot of stuff. Tell you what. Just rolling back through. I save all these images just in case I need to reference something. But I don't necessarily label them, so it's hard to search for images when they're not labeled. Let's see, where was that? It's going to be back a ways, I'm sure. Oh, where? I should really start labeling stuff. Yeah, I don't. Maybe I'll have to bring that up in the morning. I'm all the way back to 4th of July. And back to my birthday. And I don't remember where I talked about it, honestly. That looked like it, but nope. I was swinging a miss. Oh, there it is. I found it. Right there it is. Boom. Just when I was about to give up. So here we go. Here we go. Right there. There's CPI versus PCE. Very similar constituents, just a rebalance on how they're, the CPI does put a lot more weight on housing and food and beverage right there. It, that is a higher piece of CPI. So if PCE went up with food and beverage going up, CPI is probably going to come in a little hotter too. So you tell me. Interesting to me that medical care is a bigger piece of PCE. Transportation. I don't know about y'all. I'd say, looking at this, I think CPI is more representative of my spending. With, I don't necessarily spend a ton of money on these two items right there. So, I mean, transportation, cars, gas, fuel, I spend money on that. Housing, yeah. I pay my mortgage. I still have a mortgage. Not nearly what it used to be. I'm paying that down rapidly. And food and beverage, I probably spend a large chunk of my money there. Other goods and services, I have been getting people to fix a few things for me lately. Maybe PCI or CPI is more representative than PCE, but Powell likes PCE better. So, same numbers, just different balance. So, it's kind of interesting, right? Kimberly, my favorite subscriber, right there. The new drive was Thursday. Yeah, well, I didn't. No, they fixed it Friday. They fixed it Friday. They got this. They were gonna fix it Thursday, and they fixed it Friday. And it's not the same as before it got torn up, but at least it's fixed. I'm gonna have to go out there and rake it down a little bit, I think. But, they were like, so we scraped up all the stone and we put it back in the new cells, but we ran out of stone before we could fill everything back up. It's like, okay, the stone didn't go anywhere. Y'all just didn't scrape it back up properly. It's not like I had extra just laying around. It was crushed concrete that I got for free. So I have to see if somebody can bring me another load of crushed concrete, I guess. Tune that up. I mean, I can, where I park my Cybertruck, I can put a little more stone back there anyway. So, anyway. And I guess for those that didn't see this before, I don't remember. That was a few weeks ago. When they did that. Let's see if I can find it here. I was rolling through really quickly. And where did that picture go? I know y'all are loving me just sitting here scrolling. Looking for it. Don't even see it anymore. Too many things I've got stuck in this channel. I have a channel where I basically talk to myself and prepare things to show you on the videos. So, anyway, oh, there it is. So, just in case nobody saw this before, here you go. I'll drop it over here. Look at that. Somebody ripped that up. I mean, it was a funky mess. And these are, so that's 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel. These are 2 foot wide each. So that's 6 feet over into my driveway. And there's only like a couple panels left. So, I mean, that 1 panel there. I mean, how do you do that? How do you do that? What did they do? I don't even know. And they left these panels out in the street, even like whatever they drug it out. So, anyway, I don't know. So CPI might come in a little spicy. Back to circle back, back to back to the subject at hand. We might see that come in a little spicy with the food prices. That's what we saw with the PCE a couple weeks ago. PPI, that's producer prices. Usually when this spikes, it's about 4 to 6 months before we see it show up in the actual inflation numbers. So right now this is still on a decline. So we could see CPI still declining. I mean, the overall trend here does appear to be down. So if that still does kind of go down or even goes negative, like it did in COVID, we could see, the PCE and CPI still heading on a downtrend there. So I guess we'll see right there. That'll be Thursday. And then Friday, we get retail sales. This is where things could get interesting. We're coming into holiday spending, and holiday spending is usually pretty good. But, there's your core. And it was 0.5. We're expecting a 0.3, so softening. And we don't get a year over year. We just get the month over month. It's still, we were 0.4 on the, this was the core. We got a 0.5, expecting a 0.3. So this is softening of demand. And like I talked about this morning, that subprime consumer is definitely experiencing issues. Issues being they're cutting back on spending because they just can't afford to buy things. They're, tapped out on debt, can't afford it. And despite the Trump bump in the stock market, that's not really flowing through to, just because we elect a new president, that there's no immediate get out of financial jam free card. It's going to take years worth of fixing to really bring that all back around, I think. And so if you missed that this morning, I brought up those subprime charts and how that, subprime consumer charts, and what that means is people that make under, they've got it broken down into 0 to 25,000 and 25 to 50,000. And those are your subprime consumers, and they're experiencing stress. And you may be like, well, that's not very many people. Well, it's actually a lot of people. A lot of people at the bottom to support a very few at the top. So I guess we'll see. We'll see. And the big news of the weekend, I did buy, I posted this for the members only. I posted that I obtained a sawmill, a new hobby, because, I don't do enough already. Actually, this is just a continuation of another hobby that I already do. And for those of you that were Termite Trading Lab and have been here in person, you know that I made those coasters. I gave you a coaster when you came in June for those that were here. And I actually got a sawmill because I have a collection of logs around the property, and it's getting a little bit out of hand. Too much to deal with just a chainsaw mill. So here's the actual sawmill I bought, a Wood-Mizer LX50 Super, and it's on a trailer, so portable. And what's funny is it's called a portable sawmill, and it doesn't come on a trailer, and the trailer's like extra. I was like, I was looking at the instructions after I put it together because it was heavy. Like it came on a pallet that weighed 1,600 pounds, and it took me 2 full days to put it together, plus a little bit of time at night during the week last week, and or at least in the dark times, as Kimberly calls it. And finally, by Sunday afternoon, I got it to the point where I was able to cut a couple boards and pull over, please. Right there. These were the first like little 6 boards I made. They're only about that long, 2 feet or so. And you know, I got some tuning to do, but I wanted to get a couple things cut. So be milling my own lumber, and yeah, Kimberly. Also, we built it. Yeah, Kimberly did help a lot. Kimberly was out there, and that thing is a beast. And it took 3 of us to pick up the trolley. So you know, it's without the trailer. It was like, this is a portable sawmill. Just take apart the tracks, transport the tracks individually, but the last piece that has the trolley attached to it, use your forklift to lift it up into your truck, and then when you get to your destination, use your forklift to lower it back down out of the truck. I was like, wait a minute. Portable, but it requires the use of heavy machinery to portable it. To me, that's not not my vision of portable, but I guess to each their own, I guess. Yeah. It's not like I have a log skidder or anything that, don't have a bobcat with forks on it that I'm going to be cruising around with logs. I do have a backhoe, but it's a very old backhoe I picked up for reasonable price. I put some, a little bit of effort in fixing it and stuff like that. So I digress. If anybody's still here, welcome to the show. Just been updating life stuff. And that's the kind of members content for those of you that are members. You get access to that and the stories and the little video updates. That's, a couple people have asked, what do you get as a member? You get extra stuff. Hey, I've only cut 2 fingers so far, and that wasn't even with it running. So that's stay on the backside, right? Stay on the backside. Keep the guards in place. Anyway, I'm not a novice for machinery. I have a backhoe. I have tractor. I have an affinity for working machines. I actually do wood turning. And for those of you that were here and you got the coasters, the coasters were lumber I milled and planed and laser cut, and then I showed off some of the stuff I've turned. It's incredibly difficult to buy cool lumber ready for turning. Incredibly difficult. It's like, yeah, you can go to Woodcraft or whatever and buy their whatever, but that's not how I roll. I'd rather go find a cool log, cut it down myself. I've been using a chainsaw and a big bandsaw that I have in the garage, but that bandsaw is definitely stressing it a little bit, and this will be a lot easier on the bandsaw to have pre-milled lumber that's kind of square already, not just trying to cut logs on a bandsaw that wasn't meant for cutting logs. So yeah, I had a 14-inch resaw capacity on my bandsaw, so it's not like I have a small bandsaw either, and got a sizable bandsaw. Yeah. Anyway, so this is just an upgrade to that. This one will cut 26-inch logs, and I can cut up to 8-inch slabs, 26-inch wide, or 23 actually. The log, it can process a 26-inch log, but it can only actually cut a 23-inch cut at one time. So you have to turn it, and, whatever. It's all the little clips and junk that hang out just a little bit. Takes away your cutting capacity. So, but it's got a 14 horsepower gas motor on it. And what was funny is you crank it up, you put it in gear, and it just barely goes faster than idle. We got to tune that just a little bit because I was having to bump the throttle just a little bit to get it cut consistently. But on my 6 little pieces. I assume when I cut a bigger piece, it's going to take a little more effort there. So anyway, hitting the red list, S&P, just kind of churning today. I thought we might see a little churn. I was predicting that this morning as we wrapped up in Q, still a little shy of hitting that target, but NDX did hit it. And so the likely paths when we hit, in Nasdaq here, the cash index was what topped out in the recent couple of days. Why did we stop going higher on a lot of stocks? Because we hit the target. Took a little longer to get there than I thought. I thought we were going to break out over here and ramp up, but no, we went sideways and then shot up here. Kind of the way it goes. Everything seems to take longer than I intend, or it goes way faster. Like it's either way longer or way faster. It seems like I never get it right on the money as far as when I expect time-wise. I mean, I do get it right sometimes, but it just seems like more often it's either it goes really fast or a little bit longer, and occasionally we hit it right in the money. Occasionally, but been trying to buy longer term options and stuff to make sure that we hit before I run out of time. It's always the hardest part. Hardest part is time. Getting the price levels right. I've been getting that right for years now. Time is freaking hard, and I haven't found a great way to predict time within a reasonable accuracy. So that one took a little, it came up here a little after the oval, but we got it and we stopped right there for 3 days now. Just been paused. So the potential paths, as I was kind of bringing the conversation into, we either churn right here and then we pop the next level, or we pull back, which we haven't done yet, back to the breakout. That breakout lasts from all the way back here in July, early July through August. We pulled back. It's kind of interesting, right? Like we pulled back July through August. Funny. We pulled back July through August last year. The correction continued through October. This year, we started turning the bottom and kind of rallied up through October, but we were still lower through October. And then, November hit and we ramp off. So it's interesting, right? November through about March, the big up time. And this is the seasonality right here. November through March. Last year, that was about a 30% rise in Nasdaq. 31%. Not too shabby. We did that again. November through March. Let's just say let's just go mid-March. Just split the difference there. Say 30% again. Where would that put us? Right on up, right on up, right up, right. Oh, look at that. The 2618. Right at 26,000 roughly. Right there. If we were to do the same thing we did last year, again, right up in there. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? And that puts us in the Q1, Q2 time frame. I've been talking about. Interesting. So there's lots of little pieces that keep coming together. For this Q1, Q2, somewhere in here, we top out in the market. Somewhere in this zone, we top out in the market. Could be, and we could kind of ramp it up like this. It could start out slow and then really exponentially go. Now, I was saying this morning on S&P, I don't expect us to break 7,000. I'm not really expecting a break above 7,000 before we break below 4,000. You can tell me I'm crazy all you want. I kind of made a I would love to be wrong on this one, but I think we're going to break below 4,000 before we break above 7,000. That's where we are right now. All right. I have this feeling. I think we're going to go below 4,000 before we go above 7,000. So we're looking at going below here. And that takes us back a long ways, right? It's going to take back that whole pop before we go above this right over here. And we're going below this before we go above this. And we're sitting right there. So we may come up, miss, go down here. It could be a long time before we get back up here again. And this downside could go as low as like 2,000. We could cut that in half again right there. Cut that in half again. So that's what's got me kind of concerned looking into 2025, possibly 2026. That's my, as we get near the end of 2025, as I look out, that's what I'm seeing. We're potentially going below 4 before we go above 7 on S&P. Not what I want to see, but when we were all the way back over here, when I first became a guru, you may remember this, when I first became a guru, I predicted the S&P was going to 6,000. And I doubled down on it when we did this right here. I called the bottom here. And I said that 6,000 was the ideal target. Here we are. We're getting to the end of this prediction. Now we can extend that a little bit. We can definitely extend that a little bit, but not so sure we're gonna get above that 7,000 area up there. There's 59.95, 59.55 right there, right about that 6,000 area, and there we are pushing through. I'm not so sure we're getting above 7,000 before we go down. So you can let me know your thoughts in the chat and in the comments down below. If you're watching this after I'm no longer live, you can only chat on the live stream while I'm live, but as I zoom out, this is why. Look, everybody knows the bubble pattern, right? Look at this. We're going kind of exponential, and futures are not the correct chart to look at this. We got to go to SPX chart, go to CBOE, go back up to the monthly. Right here, I got to put it back on the non-log chart. See what we did here? We consolidated right here for like 14 years. And then we've gone exponential. Need to retrace that back out. This is why 2,000 right here. Look, 1,600 actually takes us back. That's the bubble pattern. Like if you haven't been here before, right here. It's on the S&P. It's on the monthly chart on the S&P. That means we could be in for a while, a lot of pain for a while. Now, if you're like, well, then that's just happenstance. There's no way. Well, look right over here. Look at this guy. Same consolidation. Same exponential move. And right back down. You notice the time frame, 100 years ago. That was the Great Depression. So, yeah, Jason, I've just been wandering around talking about a few different things. So, warning about the current situation we potentially have cooking here. So be careful. This could be where we're heading. When the signs of topping are in place, I'll be more on top of what we got going on. It's like the question is asked, what is your exact target for Bitcoin to top out? And at this point, I'm not so sure because we're just getting going on the real breakout. So we have to get a little more information. And hi from Ivan. I can see your name, Ivan. You don't have to tell me it's Ivan. So Bitcoin all-time history. Usually I go in order, but let's go talk about it really quickly. Since this was the big news of the week so far, we are breaking out, right? So people want to know. The people want to know what looks like the operative move here, right? I was talking about this morning that if we just target like the same thing we did last time, like this last move right here, we came up and hit the 1618. That was back in 2020, with the 2020 halving right in here, halving, however you want to say it. That occurred right here around May of 2020. And then we had the consolidation period and then the halving run. We kind of did this double top thing right there. Right? That was the 1618. The two moves before that both hit the 272 extension of their pullback. This one right here, this high right here that I'm using for the high right there, that one was a 272 extension of the pullback before that. Having pullback. The crypto winner. So this one right here that we're on, and let's just put that back on there 1 second. Zoom it up. We just shot right on, we got right up to the 1272, hung out there a few weeks, and then shot up to the 1618, pulled back to the 1272 again, and firmly hit the 1618. Couldn't break through, bounced off, and right back down below, back to basically retest the highs, retest the breakout. That's what we did right here. It seems like that was just a crazy pullback, but all we did was retest the breakout. We broke out of this high over here, and we came back and retested it. Now we're going on the extension again. That brings us up to right now. Right there. So this crypto winner that we just went through, this is, somebody was like, welcome to the bull run. Where have you been? We're already, how many 100% are we up off the lows? Welcome to the bull run. We're already up 449% off the lows. Anybody that was following me back here, I was saying 15,000. We probably wouldn't see 15,000 again when we broke above 25 right here. I was like, we're probably not coming back to 25 again, maybe ever. This looked like we might break down and hit some lower targets around that 40,000, but we didn't. Thank goodness. It was just a spike down. We broke above the highs. Now we're on the way. We have hit the 1448. That's not a fib level. That's just JT's 90% of the way to the 1272. All right, that's my conservative zone for hitting the 1272. I've kind of made that fib up. You won't find that anywhere else. You won't find it in anybody else's fib catalog. All right. So you go read a book on Fibonacci. 1448 is not a Fibonacci number. That's JT's made up target. Why do I have a made up target? Because that's 90% of the way to the 1272, and it just turns out to be a great lower bound for hitting the 1272. Sometimes bots front run it. Sometimes they push it past. I contend that these fib lines are fuzzy zones, plus or minus 10%. It seems like a reasonable place. And maybe I should tighten that up to plus or minus, what is it? The standard deviation, 90, 97% or whatever. Maybe plus or minus 3%. But I've done all the statistics and current bot stuff I have working. All runs on that 10%, plus or minus 10% zone. So that's where that 1.1448 comes from right there. Now, 1272 is the actual target. That would be the actual target right in there. And if we just do what we did last time, 1618. If we go back to what we did the 2 prior halvings before that, this could get spicy. All right, this could get really spicy to the upside. We could be talking, and my fibs aren't properly put on here. Just talking ballpark figures here. 168,000. If we go hit the 272, like we hit the 2 halvings before, like what if this one just fell short for whatever reason? We go rocking and rolling up there. We're talking about like 400,000. That'd be pretty wild. That's my more realistic goal is to 10 to 20x the lows. The lows basically 15,700. So we're talking 157,000, which is right in line with this. I've got that alert sitting there. And 20 times the low was 300, basically 320,000-ish, 314,000, something like that. So we're looking at, this zone right here being the conservative target. Well, I guess this was the conservative target. This is more the target, just the classic target. And then this would be more aggressive target if we can get that extension. All right. Everybody wants to know what are we watching right now? So we're watching this level. How do we react? Do we pull back? Do we hold this breakout and go up? Or do we just cruise right on through? Go cruising on up here to 160? Or do we go cruising on up to 420? Now we can start diving down even finer into this move, but it starts getting in the weeds really quickly. All right, the moves in here are not the cleanest, not the clearest on this run so far. This one was a lot cleaner, a lot more clear to me as we came off this low. I had a very clear prediction on where I thought this was going to top up here. And trying to display it a little bit. I'm getting in the weeds a little bit. See, that was 40,000 was a target, but then we set up a couple of smaller wrong fib tool. Set up a couple of these smaller moves in here. They started firming up that we were going to get into the 60,000 range. I don't have it quite clicked on the right one or the right perfect one. Yeah, I was starting to project that we would probably hit that 61,000, and that's where I really told my brother I thought we could get 60,000. He decided to sell out here. He was glad he did, and then we got back up, and he was like, "Whoa, maybe I sold too soon." And then we didn't really go. We made a nominal higher high, but didn't really go further than that on that cycle, and that was pretty wild. That kind of worked out. And then you look at this right here, that pullback in that extension, and it lined up and had a confluence at that 60,000 area right there. We just kind of kept topping out right there around 60,000. I just rounded it off to 60,000 when I told him. And so this time, feeling kind of confident that we're going to see something at least 150. And we look at the lows over here. We were at 33,200, so 20x 3,200. Look at that, 64,000. It topped out right in that zone, so that was 20x. So 10 to 20x this time puts us up in that 150 to 300,000. So multiple different ways. Some stuff fib stuff, some stuff not fib stuff, just different patterns. Kind of the way I see it. All right. Now, time-wise, a couple of you have asked, time-wise, the best time-wise thing I have. When we look at the pullback to the, I clicked on the wrong one there. Delete. When you look at the pullback to the high, projected off the pullback, we could be running out here March. Now look at this. Lines up with what I was saying in the Nasdaq. March, the end of March, right there. When we look at the pullback here to the run here, projected off the low, Oh, wrong fib tool. Awesome. Click on the right fib tool, JT. I don't use that time-based one very often. This is the best time tool I have. It's not necessarily the best. See, we're already kind of running into this one. Oh, that was the pullback, not the high. High, low to high, low to high, low to high. Click the right things. Low to high, right there. Again, April. So, get interesting here. Low to high. Low to high. Depends on which high you go off with. You go the first high, it's more like March. You go with the second high, get a little further out. So we're starting to firm up that maybe somewhere in this zone is where we might top out. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? 1.8 million. Put the other fib back on there. So somewhere in this zone. Draw this back in here correctly. Somewhere in this zone might be where we top out. All right. It could be a party in Knoxville in March. It could be everybody toasting everybody. So it could be fun. We do have our in-person event March 13th and 14th here in Knoxville. So there you go. That's what we're looking at right up in there. I am hopeful that we get a little bit higher. That's what we're looking at. All right, any questions, you'll let me know in the chat. But it's kind of like my best guess right now. Until we get some sub moves, more clarity on the sub moves, I don't have a great projection for where this might actually fully top out here. We'll have to. We've got this low in place. We've got this high right here. We've got this pullback. And, I don't know how great that one is, but that could put us in the 200 to 300,000 if this was the first two moves. Now, if this was the first two moves, it's kind of difficult to, it's very shallow for the first two moves there. And we could be nearing a top out in the $120,000-$130,000 area right in here, that we top out this third move here, get a retrace, and then push the final move here. I'm just not sure, like which little zigzag is which. It's not been very clear to me. And other Elliott Wave Titians that I followed, it's this price action off this low has been not the clearest and cleanest. So I really have to go back to my classic targets here. Some classic targets. Kind of look at that 163 to possibly 400,000, and then the 10 to 20x the lows. That gives us the 157 to 300. That kind of lines up in a confluence zone and gives us that target zone right in there. Upper end would be great. We may stop at the lower end. So, all right. Tomorrow, for those of you in crypto power plays and Crypto Unleashed, you've got the long-term chart. There's no update. It's the same long-term chart. It's been the same chart. And we'll take requests here in a minute, and I'll give you. So when I do request, it'll be on the daily chart only. It'll just be a high-level, fast time frame analysis. If you want more in-depth stuff, that's available, especially for Term Market Trading Lab people. That's available. And so let's hit the other market highlights. We kind of hit the S&P, we hit the Nasdaq. Usually we go through other futures like Russell is so close to breaking out to new highs. This is interesting here. Very interesting. Let's go down to a daily chart. Yesterday we topped out at 24.5560. This high over here was Not on the right one. Where is it? Yeah, I'm having trouble hitting the exact right one. There it was 24.60.80. 24.60.80. So we're just a few points away from making a new all-time high. Like 5 points. So that can extend on up to the 2600 area. Right up in there on Russell. I want to delete my alert. I want to put a new fib line on that has the 1448. That's just my 90% of the way to the 1272, and right at that 2600 price up there. It'd be a classic point to hit, and I would consider the 1272 kind of hit at that point. CL, this one quite interesting. Now we should go back over here. CL, it's kind of my daily chart I've been working with here. No strength today. If we break below this up, this barely an uptrend of lows, we're probably going on down to the 60 area, and may very well, that should put us at a lower low than what we had here in April of 23, a year and a half ago. If we can do that, this may be the end of the correction on oil. Finally, it's been a long time coming, and that may flush us out. We could get all the way down to 50. Don't really expect lower than that, but it is possible that we go on down further to 27, though I don't really see it at this moment. This kind of watermelon seed squeeze plays out right here at 50. And this smaller version of it plays out here at 60. So it's kind of what I've been watching on oil. Brent, it's kind of funny, it rallied up into the coin flip zone for the presidential election and then drops right back down. That's looking like a head and shoulders type situation right here. Shoulder, head, shoulder, very balanced. It's not very it's kind of rare that you see a very balanced head and shoulders like this. Now, if anybody else starts talking about that, it's probably going to fail. That's just the way it goes. When mainstream media announces it, it fails. But look at that. It puts it right at 60 area, just like CL. And what's the difference? This is U.S. crude, and this is European crude, basically. And West Texas Intermediate, and this is Brent in Europe. RB, that's kind of faked out, but going for another attempt at a breakdown right there. That one's a little more interesting, I guess, on what's cooking. So we could, fixing that neckline a little bit. We could, like that. Oil's kind of setting up for maybe a flush. And we might flush it down. Down to $1.60 on gas. Heating oil, diesel fuel, same potential to break down. See if I can grab the head and shoulder up there, move this shoulder over here, move this neckline over here. And that shoulder is getting a little big, but potential for that to break down. And that one, head to neckline, get it square, could flush it on down. That's the price pattern that's shaping up right now. It's kind of a... Now, the interesting thing here to me is that this is showing up on the bottom of a trend. That's not usually the way trends continue, is not usually with a head and shoulders pattern that breaks down. The reversal of a trend would normally look like a head and shoulders reversal pattern that breaks up, and that would be the end of the downtrend. So I'm not sure these are going to play out, but they're present. So let's watch out there. And NG right there, potential for this to break higher and go cruising on up here to $3.60 to $4. Gold probably retracing back to their daily roadmap line. That really looks like where we're heading. Silver looks like it's heading back to the daily roadmap line also. Right there. HG. I was warning about this. If we get below this low over here, if we get below that low, watch for the big flush. This can go very, very quickly. Right there. This is a bearish chart. It's been a bearish chart for a couple of years now. This looks like we're going to get a large flush somewhere in this zone right there on copper. Please be careful. We'll do, just give me a minute more and we'll hit requests in just a second. I do have rules for requests, so anything that's been requested so far, just hold your pants on a second longer. We'll get there. And all-time history on Ethereum, trying to break above that 618 level. We've got this high right here. We've got this low right here. We're right at it. If we can confirm, we're probably on a path up to 44, if not 46. And ETHU could be a way to take advantage of that right there. All right, so request. The rules for a request, starting now. If you're a channel member, you have priority. You must type in all caps. You must put in the request. And if you're going to request a crypto or something like that, I need the ticker and US dollars. If you request more than one ticker in one request, I will skip it. And if you have a complete sentence question about a ticker, please use that complete sentence. And if I skip something, please say what it is in full sentence that you think I skipped, and I'll come back to it. And if you broke a rule, like you requested multiple tickers, or, you know, one request per person per request, as I said, you have to wait for somebody else to go, preferably 2 people to go before you make another request. And if I just see you dominating the chat, every other person or every other 2 people, I'll just start skipping you. All right. So there you go. That's kind of the way it rolls. And we'll kind of go until I get tired of doing it. So I see Inium up there. And right there, we're in the zone to find support. So that's it right there. Right below that, watch out. We could return to the bottom right there. It'd be a bummer, but right there we are in support and looking for this to find support. That's, I already drew it. That was the potential zone that it would come back to right there. And here we are. All right. I see a couple Maras. So MARA. Yeah, right there we are at the resistance. Break above the resistance and don't move the chart. Delete all the other things. So we've got this pullback from this high to this low right there. There's the resistance. It's at that prior high. Imagine that. We turned down, made a lower low. Got to break above that high. Sets us up for a move right here to the 37 to 40 area right there as the conservative target. We were set up for it before. We didn't do it. We went a little lower. So still, that's the target. All right. And Rivian. Probably going on down. That's what we've got so far. MSTX. MSTX is a MSTR derivative. As I talked about this morning, if you want to know more about this, go watch this morning's video. Target is up here. Is acting as leverage Bitcoin. Target somewhere around 1,000. It has a big fat target, anywhere from 800 to like 1,300. 1,000 being kind of the intermediate target, the ideal target. That would be a 300% upside. MSTX, MSTAU, those are 2x leverage. So looking for a 600% upside from where we were this morning. That's basically the target. So you can't just use leverage stuff to shoot targets. So, KO. And probably plummeting out. All right. As I said, I'll give priority to SVXY is not really chartable. So VIX probably breaking back down. And it's not really a trending stock either. So SVXY and VIX don't really trend. This is at support right here. Break below. Probably going to flush on down. Back to the resting heartbeat of the VIX right there. And just to hit SVXY, it doesn't really present any And we're not breaking through the roadmap line yet. It's, you know, this doesn't really act like a normal stock, so it's hard to really chart, and it's really really just being slow getting going here. Just not responding. So we have VIX in backwardation. So when you see VIX 1 exclamation point, we look at this over here. We're getting some backwardation in here, where it costs more to keep your forward VIX futures going. Wow, just some craziness in there. All right, and let's see. Roll on down. Try to pick up the channel members. Zillow, yeah, on the way. Right there's the target, 86. Nothing changed. PayPal, that's struggling to break higher than that resistance over here. We may get an outsized retrace back down here. And let's see. I'll hit other people here in a minute. I was just hitting my channel members first, since they have supported me more deeply. And PLTR, still upside target 67. Pretty much hit that every morning. Square, we hit that this morning. Nothing changed. Upside target still 92, right there. Going back, picking up the rest of everybody. Let's see, Rivian. You know, going down, hit that one. Shopify just went popping off. Bigger upside targets right up here, around 160. Already had that up there. Now it would be a bummer, but 115 could be the top. 130 and 160. Those are the operative targets here. 115, which is right above where we are. You know, this 130 area, 139, and then this one right here, 157, 160. Those are kind of where I expect it to top out. Then we'll probably get a retrace. Then we can go on up and get the break higher than the big consolidation. And that bigger target will probably be, got all my indicators over there. I'll move this over. That'd be up to 197. So I'd probably do some sort of ramp up in here, pull back here, and then break higher like that. So one of these is going to be, you know, one of these points right here is going to be where we pull back and then ramp on up here. Highly likely that would be the path. CMG, as I identified the other day, this has a large upside potential somewhere up here, like $100 again. But we're going to have to break above that 618. Near term, 72, 74. Could have a larger upside potential. And HWM. That's SWM. HWM. And just up. Like, how high up? That's exponential up. So eventually we're going to run out of air and do some sort of consolidation and then come back down. Highly likely. That chart right there. And KO. Back down. Looking for support. May go back down to the lows over here. Could come all the way back down there. Not really any magic to this at this point. There's didn't find support at the roadmap line. Pushing through some violence. That high, that low. Maybe find support here. If we don't, retest the low, and if we don't hold support there, lower low right there. All right, GM. Remember, if I say anything that's helpful, beneficial, give me a thumbs up on the video. GM, looks like we're going to break up higher, 72 upside target there. And BA, looking for that target right there. Nothing changed. Last few days, still looking for this flush right there. One more little dip. Now, we could bottom any day now on this lower low. This is looking like we're trying to complete somewhere between 135 and 145. Probably bottom out. And the market's back open, so NKE. Looking for that to make a lower low again after rejecting the market roadmap line, breaking back below the 618 support right there. It's kind of hovering, but it looks like it wants to go one more lower low, just kind of like Boeing on a bigger scale. RVLV, and Revolve Group. What a nasty chart. You see how that was a bubble pattern right back down to the lows. Looks like it might be doing it again. These usually don't go as high the second time. Caution any, we got that gap right there, that gap down. It may go fill that gap down, and then watch out for a negative reaction on that. CNC, that's negative charts, probably going down to this area down here. Cruising on down, right in there. FL, Footlocker. Trying really hard to get up off the mat here. I do have an upside target, but we're going to have to break above that prior high there. Went a little deep for measured bounce. If we can get above, and the kind of the tail would be a break above that level right there. If we can get above that, and then we can get above that, there's the target right there. Those are gap fill. Yeah, that's a gap fill right there. That was a gap fill. We rejected it. The next gap fill would put us right up in that area right there. All right, that's Footlocker. The RWD. After I've scrolled to the bottom and scroll back up to the top, I don't have a way to pick up channel members and make you priority after I go back and try to get everybody. So CRWD, potential to go right up here, 550 area. OKTA, just chopping. That's so gnarly. I don't know why people like this, but unless you're glutton for punishment, I would just stay away from this. It's been, I mean, let's be honest. If you bought right over here and you hadn't done anything, you came back and loaded your account, 5 years later, you've made no money. That's not my kind of trending stock. Now that looks like 5 down, and we may do a 3 retrace and go further down. Like that's looking like an A wave down. We may find serious resistance breaking through this right here and turn down for a bigger down. All right, MO, Floria Group. Still not breaking higher, but it is set up to go up. Nice correction. We bottomed in a nice place. It's broken back above. 60 would be the upside right there at this point. Possibly extending to 72. Wouldn't expect more than that right now. ML. Money line. It rejected that. Break higher there. That it doesn't tell me a lot off of this low. Like we didn't retrace to a classic level. We don't really, I guess we kind of have something in here, but work off that low, that spike, that retrace, maybe I'm stretching for straws here, but maybe something up in 114, 150, 114 to 150 area right here. Now, unfortunately, hiding in here is a reverse split. Reverse splits are nasty and very detrimental to long-term positive growth in a stock. So this was never trading at 400. It was like this stock split is what made it go that high right there. They did this split to stay listed, 30 for 1. So these prices up here are elevated 30 times higher. So it was at $10, not at $30 or $300, excuse me. It was at $10 and went down, did a 30 for 1 reverse split. That's not positive for, I mean, think about it. The people that just bought the $10 shares back here, you're just waiting for your money back at 300, and then you're gonna bail probably. So that's just not my kind of, not like when the reverse splits are in there. It's just kind of like on my do not trade list for the most part. IONQ. We have resistance at this prior high. It's just a big sideways, choppy, hot mess of a chart. Could break higher, but may find resistance at the prior high right there. And that's just not the kind of banging setup I'm looking for. BTBT is almost to the target right there at 6. Watch out. If we reject that, we can go back down. If we break through, we could come up here to 20 to 30. Right there, SMR. And there's the target right there, 29. And Veil. It already tagged the low. And we retraced and rejected off the roadmap line. Next low would be down to $9 right there. Alrighty. FTAI. And didn't do the retrace. That's, missed that one. Just going exponential. Staying on the path. How high does she go? Good question. That low, that maybe 240. I'd be careful. I can give it up and retrace. This move right here is getting pretty extended. 3618 coming up right there at the 240 area. And be careful. Perma cautious here. I thought I already hit square. Block. We talked about that this morning. There's that upside target. 93, 92, 93. And CMCO. CMCO. Man, gosh. Nasty sideways. I don't know why. What makes somebody want to trade that? I'm a trend pullback continuation trader. That's not a trend. That's just a sideways consolidation for years and years and years. And there's no fundamental story that's going to convince me to get involved in this. That's just nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. KHC. It's another nasty, nasty sideways chart that's breaking below the lows and may go lower, low. And be careful on that one. And MSTR, we already hit. And FLNG. It's probably going down, down, down. Who knows how low. Z already hit. JNUG. That's a 2x bull on junior miners. So GDXJ is the junior miners. They're at support. If they break down below the lows, watch out. Now, there's 4 things that commonly don't follow the patterns. One of those being leverage stuff. So if you give me a leverage ticker, I'm probably, while I may look at it a little bit, JNUG being a leverage ticker, it's not very reliable. You should go to the underlying. The underlying being junior gold miners, all right, or junior gold miner leverage, junior gold miners. If we start breaking below this, it's probably going to go deeper. That could take it on down. Just do your targets right off of here. Like if we go down, we're looking at a move like this, probably somewhere around 16% down. That means JNUG is going to do 2x leverage. So JNUG, talking about a 30% down, 2x leverage, cuts both ways. So we're looking at somewhere like that, 28. All right, that's how you do it. And same on MSTX, same as MSTR, MSTX, MSTU, same way. SPX, SPXL, SPXS, all the leverage tickers. All right, same process. You look at the underlying, look at what the potential move is, apply the leverage. That's the potential. Now, some stuff like, why don't I like leverage? Like, look at this, BitX. This is leverage Bitcoin, right? I am in this pretty heavy, lots of shares, but we're not breaking higher. I'm in MSTX, right? it could underperform the 2x leverage. Bitcoin's already up here, but this one's not. Sometimes your leverage doesn't perform to the leverage on the long term. All right, this is on a daily. These are a daily performance. When you trade it for months, you're probably going to underperform when you use the leverage. Now, it's better than going for options, because options, you run out of time. Like these, you don't run out of time, but you do. And here's the other thing, though. This pays a dividend. Hold the shares, you get a dividend. That comes out of the cost. So when you do that, we actually are higher high. And you adjust for the dividend. Here, this high over here keeps dropping every time they pay one of these dividends. Because it's dividend adjusted. Every new dividend drops that prior high. So now we are breaking higher. It's like people think BITO is broken. Not really when you adjust for the dividend. If you're holding options, it sucked. If you're holding the shares, it broke out and running higher. It's cruising, probably going up to 27, maybe 36. Broke out higher than the prior high over here. They've been paying out the NAV like crazy with the dividend, especially lately. Look at that, $1 dividend, $1.20, $1.40. They were paying the dividend out like crazy. So just make sure you know what game you're playing. When you talk about BITO sucking, it's because they've been paying out the NAV in dividends, and it's actually higher high now on a dividend adjusted basis. Same with like BitX. You do the dividend adjusted basis, we are at all-time high. All right. Be careful. ABBV, ABV, getting slammed back. It's below my target, so who knows? We might go lower. It's got this support right here coming up, uptrend of lows. If we don't hold that, we're probably coming back down pretty viciously, and this could that could be the end of the long-term trend here. So if we don't hold that support right there, long-term trend could be done, and we go visit this area right here at 100. That would kind of be where I expect support, right down there on AbbVie. Right here in 26, 37, 40 area. Upside targets. Right in there. And GEV. GE Veranova. Yeah. That one just keeps being ridiculous. There's not enough chart to tell any, to make any prediction. SMMT. Looks like that wants to retrace. And WMB just keeps rocking and rolling. There's the only next target I have is 71 up there for that one. OKLO. And it's just a nasty chart. One big move up off the lowest low. There's no pullback it's just a move. There's no trend pullback continuation. No way to project that. That's just gambling. GEO. That's a ridiculous move for a real estate investment trust. I would be very, very, very cautious here. That looks like it wants to roll back down in a violent way. It's weird it didn't show the dividend payments. It has potential to move on up to 44, but I would be very cautious on expecting that. It has this history of ramping and pulling back violently, ramping and pulling back violently, and ramping and pulling back violently. It could definitely pull back violently. Careful on that one. Salah. Big target 500. Short-term intermediate target. We talk about this one pretty much every day because, well, I got a bunch of shares. So we're looking for this pullback potentially as deep as this area right over here. Like we very well could retest this breakout right here. That was the breakout. We shot up. We hit the 350 target that I've had for a long freaking time. We can come right back down here, retest before we go higher again. 500 is that bigger upside target. Had that target since back over here. I thought we were going to get it. And we decided to retrace. 3-wave potential move up. So far, this could kick off a bigger move. 400 or 500, 600. That is the target right now. If we're going to be bullish, we're going to cruise on up to 867. We may see resistance, bigger pullback before we go on up even higher. So watch out for these resistance points in here on Tesla. LC, that's like a long term. Lending Club is a complete trash of a company. I don't even know what they do anymore. They watch out for this resistance at this 618. They used to do peer-to-peer lending. Now, I don't know what the plan is. It's got a reverse split in here. Piece of garbage. I did peer-to-peer lending with them for a while, and I don't know, 5 years later, made like $10. Cool. ZI. We have one move up, one retrace, one bust up into the roadmap line. Be cautious. This can be played out here. It did run on down to past the targets even. Wow. So if we stop at this gap down, that can lead to a lower low again. Very careful. 4 things that don't follow the patterns. One of those being leveraged, 2 of them being low price stuff. This is kind of in that category. Stuff around $10. Equities under $10 doesn't really follow the patterns all the time, so be careful. And then number 3 being China stuff, and number 4 being biotechs. That's anything the Food and Drug Administration of the United States is involved in. So those 4 things commonly don't follow patterns. Real estate investment trusts are kind of like a special case, and IPOs start out bearish. That's 90% of the time. So I have a variety of categories of things that don't always do the patterns correctly. But IPOs being bearish just means they're starting out in a corrective pattern, not in the bullish pattern. So they're probably going to make a lower low. And it's kind of the way the whole thing rock and rolls there. HIMS is stretching higher, 30 possible target, and 37 above that. ACHR, I guess they're pullback on that. That's HIMS and hers, yeah. That negative reaction on the GLP-1 drug stuff, limited reaction. Now they're back in business, I guess. ACHR, and we've got a downtrend of highs. This is always a cautionary tale. If we can start breaking above that, we could look higher, but that's not the best right there. And Netflix, I am not very sure that we're going to see widespread adoption of air taxis. It just doesn't seem like the viable thing that's going to happen. 3D airspace is very complicated to manage, and the risks are very high for falling out of the sky for humans. So 869 upside on Netflix. CDXC. Charlie Delta X-ray Charlie. That's a $7. That's a low price thing. That's a bubble pattern that went lower low, and we are at the resistance right there. Caution, we may turn down and experience a deep retrace, if not a lower low. Hate to break it to you. Colleen. Good. I am in this one, and we are coming up on the target zone right there. If we can get past this target zone, we have potential for 54, 72, 113. I don't know. I mean, just get back up into this 44, 45 zone. It's I made GTFO if we get to 45. That's why I've got the alert right there. I might get out. I've been sitting in this selling calls for a long freaking time, and I'm ready to move on. Quite honestly, rode the whole thing down and right back up, and I don't know, maybe ready to move on. Move that money to somewhere else. That RELY, we break above this 618 here. There's the potential for this measured bounce right here. This was the upside resistance. We break above this right here. Kick off this bigger pattern right there. This is the conservative target. This is the more aggressive target up here. Steph. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Do not trade a chart like this. See that? Dumpster fire. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Don't mean to pick on your stock, but that's nasty. You see this over here, right? What would make you think it's... Why do you want to get involved in that? Like, there's a reverse split here, reverse split here, reverse split here. Whew, that's just nasty. Yes, yes. There's the downside target. Looking for support in this area right here. We can turn it, burn it back above this area. We can see 42, 46 right there on the target. Not great. AMD, still looking for the lower low right down here. That's not changed for all year. Been talking about it for, seems like 9 months now. Looking for this, maybe 11 months. I don't know. It's been a long time. Looking for that move down in there on AMD, ETON, Eaton Pharmaceuticals. This is biotech pharma, and it's under 10 bucks. So be careful. That's sideways for basically the entire history of this public company right here. That is the, when I talk about IPOs, start out bearish. This starting out corrective, 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 lower low right there. There's a move up, retrace. This is overlapping this high, this low, skip one, overlaps. That's not constructively bullish price action. A breakout might take it higher, but it's not convincing me it's doing any kind of bullish. It could break out and go, but it just doesn't look good right there. It's not a good looking chart that I want to put money involved in. It's just not. Like, I keep talking about this, that I'm kind of a retired trader and I only want to come out for the best of the best setups. Come out of retirement and put my money at risk. And that's not one of them. Lulu, I talked about this back in the summertime, that we were going to come up, test the roadmap line, potentially get a little move up above it, come back, retest. And here we are in the fall, coming up above it. We need to come up, retest, and prove that we're going higher. I'm not convinced yet. Talked about this bounce for a long time, and potentially we're actually breaking through. Maybe, I don't know. We haven't confirmed we're going to hold it yet. If we don't hold it, the downside risk is down to about 200 over here. If you want the roadmap line, links in the description. It's like $5. Or you can click on the channel name, Jeffrey Turnmeyer. My little logo down here underneath me right here. Click on that, go to the main page. The channel, the video I have pinned to the channel is the market roadmap line. It's the code, it's how to use it. It's basically all the basic instructions for it. And if you just want the easy button to put it on your chart, or you need it for a different platform, link is in the description. We can hook you up. Man, look at that nasty chart right there. Just choppy sideways. Choppy, choppy, choppy. All right. And Lulu, we did that one. GV. Golf Victor. Another dumpster fire of a chart. Just nasty. I'm not even gonna bother. Costco. Well, we haven't been back to the roadmap line in a little while. They did this watermelon seed squeeze breakout. Goes shooting out. Kept going, kept going. This is why these are dangerous. They can break up or they can break down. That was a giant range, and we're going higher. How high? There's no real upside target in the moment. Possibly up to this 1036 area, maybe. maybe the 1200 area of above that. So that's about all I got right now. Big scale right there for Costco. AMD already did. And Netflix already did. IBIT is just Bitcoin. Already did Bitcoin. That's just apply the adjustment factor for Bitcoin. Let's see. Check. Is potentially going up to 191. ASTS already did. GILD. If you missed something, use the timeline bar right there and go find it. GILD up to the target. This has been sideways for a long time. Just pop the target and may retrace back to the bottom. It's not really gone anywhere for a long time. It does have this higher upside all-time high to deal with up here. Right up in here. So we may possibly rally up to the 112 area, but it's going to take a lot to get up above that on GILD. MU has a big potential upside, but we've just been hanging at the roadmap line, not proving we're going to do it. Well, we moved up, we retraced to a 618, popped up, and just stopped at the roadmap line, kind of stopped dead. We do have this bigger upside potential, but we're just not confirming it. We're just stuck right here. Stuck. Got to get above this. This like place where we consolidate here and consolidate here on the way up, consolidate here on the way down. Got to break it back above that to indicate we're going to 172, and that can lead to the bigger upside potential right up here in this area where this 1272 extension is. Let's move up, this retrace, this push up. The minimum target will be the 272 if we're going to break up above that initial resistance there. And this could take a while. Could take a couple years to do that. GYRE depends on if is the money involved worth the wait. GYRE, that's another biotech pharma. Just not the kind of stuff I'm looking for. That's kind of a downtrend. Kind of. I mean, it is a downtrend right there. And possibly coming on the lows, but that so far we're not making any kind of higher highs. So not trending higher, still trending lower. And let's see. Dogecoin. All-time history. Where are you? It's right there. And nice splits. Caution as always. Here's the high, here's the low. We're just getting into that resistance where we consolidated right here before we broke down. Watch out if we can get through it just a little bit higher, above 50 cents. Possibly we go up to 121. Yeah, absolutely insane. They make like 10,000 of the, the inflation rate on these is absolutely ridiculous. They make like 10,000 of these every few seconds. It's just an absolute insane emulsion rate, if you will. Inflation rate. So watch out for that right there. Could pop, but it also could fail right in here. Caution. I think it'll probably pop though. And let's see, PFGC. You want to know more about that? I go more in depth on all the crypto charts on the Crypto Power Plays update each week. PFGC, let's just clean this chart up, and we're above targets. So that pullback, that extension, we're already extending again. Maybe 104, maybe 112, but we've already played it out. These were the targets. Retracement would be in order. I mean, look, this doesn't usually go very far without retracing, so watch out for retrace right there. Solana, please use the entire ticker SK, and potentially playing that near-term move out right there. Potential though for the bigger breakout up here at 440. All right, and yeah, Lenny Club is scamsters. That's the way I feel about it. Nvidia, I think it's what you're asking for. NVDA is the ticker, not Nvidia, and that's already playing out to the target right there at 149, possibly 158 if we get the extension right there. We may retrace it back to, may do this little pattern here. Let me zoom it up. The downside risk is very high for NVIDIA. You may be thinking, well, I don't think so. It's like AI, it's all the things. Yeah, they asked the Supreme Court to be immune from SMCI's fraud case because they're complacent in the fraud case against SMCI. They've been convicted of fraud before and settled with the SEC and the FTC. Once your company's done fraud in the past, you're probably doing fraud again. NVIDIA probably did fraud some way, somehow. Be careful. This can just oh my gosh, fraud, drop 60, 70%. SMCI, you see what happened here. NVIDIA asked to be immune from this case. This is the bubble pattern. This one could come on down. That's the bubble pattern. We've done the retrace before. All right, remember, this did a 10-for-1 stock split. So this right here was 10 times higher. This was did a 60% retrace. This one right here. Kind of looks the same, right? Did a 60% retrace. This one right here. Did an 80% retrace. This one right here. Did 80% retrace. Now this stock does giant retraces over and over and over. Be careful. We can do a giant retrace. Limited upside. No, Netflix is not air taxis. Archer is air taxis. FTNT. Yeah, it's up to the potential up here. 120. 1, 2, 3. Right up in there, 120. And wave 5, maybe somewhere way up here. 200. Like that. Ching, ching, ching. Alrighty. That's the end of the list. I think I got everybody. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll see you first thing in the morning. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9:15 tomorrow morning. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you give me a thumbs up. Share with a friend. Invite a friend. Phone a friend. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for supporting me.